last week on Whitetail Wisdom Wednesdays, brought to you by Buck Gardens, I left you in my tree stand just about ready to pull back and shoot my monster buck of a lifetime. Here's the rest of my story. I pulled back my bow and I was successful, which was a big surprise to me. At that point, I still had to think to myself what I was going to do next. I take a deep breath and I make sure everything is perfect. He's quartering away from me. So I put my 15-yard dot right behind his last rib. And I think, okay, my knees need to stand still right now. And then I slowly squeeze the trigger. And then pop. That's all I heard. The deer goes running off, and I know I had a good shot. The arrow's not left, so I know it didn't go through him. But I know it was a good shot. At that point, I'm like shaking uncontrollably, and I sit down in my tree stand, and all the rest of the deer run off. Well, I get on my phone, and I'm calling, nobody's answering their phone at home, waiting for my fiance to check his phone or call me. Finally he answers, and I can't even talk. I should have not even called him, but I couldn't even talk. He's like, well, just stay in your tree stand. And I think I said I shot about 6 times. He didn't even know what happened. He thought, well, did she shoot herself, or did she fall out of her tree stand, or what's going on? Well, then I finally said I shot brow tines, and he's like, oh my god, he's freaking out. And he's like, stay in your tree stand, I'm going to call the neighbors and all this stuff. And I'm like, just come out here. So finally, he gets the neighbor guy, and they come out and they help me track down brow tines. We're finding little tiny pin drops of blood everywhere, and I didn't see him drop, so I didn't know where he went. Well, just over the hill a little bit, there's a fence line, and we found one little tiny pin drop right next to the fence line. And we figured that he had jumped it. So we went on the other side, and my dog was there, and he pretty much ran right up to it. And then we found my giant buck of a lifetime brow tines. That's my story about shooting brow tines. After all the commotion with the neighbors coming over to check him out, and we green scored him right away, I had to go to work that night. So I was just on cloud 9 at work, and I didn't work that night. I was just there telling all the maintenance guys about what had happened and stuff like that. The next morning, we took him out of our neighbor's walk-in cooler and took some really nice pictures with him, and then we caped him out. And then I couldn't wait to get my mount back. So in February, I got my mount back, and this is how he turned out. Really nice, beautiful short hair coat with his nice red cap. And then, as you can see, his brow tines are just amazing. They're 9.5 inches long. They have some great mass to these bases at about 5.5 inches. He's got an eye guard, and he's got a point that sticks out the back of his brow tines, and he's got this really awesome finger right here. And it causes this to be webbed, and so he's got a lot of mass on him also. So for a mainframe 8-pointer, he's got some really, really amazing length to his G2s and a 22-inch spread. So his G2 here is 13.5 inches. So I'm really proud of my buck of a lifetime. Thank you to Buck Gardens for letting me tell my story.